Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. With all this craziness going on at the US southern border and the fact that the federal government is basically facing off with the Texas National Guard and, civil strife and worse is all looming in this year of 2024, an election year. Yet, for the cultural battle and for the sanctity of protecting women's sports, this one from the Daily Mail, trans swimmer Leah Thomas sues to overturn strict new rules that prevent her from competing against biological females enacted after she sparked outrage in hopes to take part in the Paris Olympics. In women's sports, I assume that since this person destroyed all of the collegiate women's records in swimming, that they're going to try to do the same here in the Olympics. Let's see how woke the Olympic Committee has become, and let's read this story. Transgender swimmer Leah Thomas has secretly mounted a legal fight to overturn a decision that bans her from competing against biological females in elite-level athletics, it is claimed. Thomas, 24, has hired Canadian law firm TYR to do her bidding at the court of arbitration for sport in Switzerland, as reported by The Telegraph. Last year, after Thomas won the NCAA title, World Aquatics banned those who have undergone any part of male puberty from the women's category. The ban includes the Olympics and World Championships and was enacted in response to the fury sparked over Thomas's smashing biological female competition, which triggered claims of unfairness. Well, I mean, come on, it 100% was unfair. A biologically born male who went through puberty, which is irrelevant to me, but still is a factor, participated in the women's college sports and destroyed all the records, ruined people's scholarships, ruined people's opportunities that were very short-lived. You only go to college for 4 years, right? So this person's selfishness wrecked women's college sports forever, or unless they go back and put an asterisk by that record, or if they just go ahead and wipe the person's times from the record sheets because the person was not born biologically female, right? But Thomas, who has not competed since 2022, is so optimistic about chances that she hopes to compete in the Paris Olympics, it is believed. However, her case is unlikely to be heard before the Summer Games begin on July 26th. World Aquatics told The Telegraph the World Aquatics policy on gender inclusion adopted by the World Aquatics in June 2002 was rigorously developed on the basis of advice from leading medical and legal experts and in careful consultation with athletes. World Aquatics remains confident that its gender inclusion policy represents a fair approach and remains absolutely determined to protect women's sports. Good, I like that. I hope they follow through. Thomas competed as a man as recently, and her rankings greatly improved following her gender transition. You mean the rankings greatly improved because Thomas started swimming against biologically born females after not being able to compete on a high level with biologically born men. That led to claims that going through male puberty lent her a considerable advantage over female rivals by letting her develop bigger muscles. I mean, I'm reading this as it is written, but it's really annoying me how it's written, okay? But for the YouTube factor, I'm just going to read it as it is. She sparked massive backlash, including from competitors when she became the first openly transgender person to win a National Collegiate Athletic Association Division I title. Thomas was ranked 65th when competing in the same category, the 500-yard freestyle, as a male, leading to outrage from activists and female swimmers, including now women's rights advocate Riley Gaines, who we love on this channel. 3 months after her win, World Aquatics implemented a ban on transgender women. U.S. Swimming by that time had already introduced strict transgender regulations in March 2022, which critics said stopped short of a ban. Thomas reportedly went to CAS court in September before World Aquatics applied to have the case dismissed because she had not submitted herself to the jurisdiction of USA Swimming. Under previous rules, transgender women would compete in the international level as long as their testosterone levels were lower than 5 nanomoles per liter over a 1-year period. In January 2023, World Athletics announced they wanted to tighten their policy but said their preferred option was only to reduce testosterone levels to 2.5 nanomoles per liter and increase the transition period to 2 years. That led to a huge backlash from female athletes and women's rights campaigners who wanted a blanket ban on transgender athletes competing against other women. And the They argue that even with lower testosterone levels, trans female athletes still possess an inherent biological advantage that makes competing against them unfair. Following the backlash, World Athletics Council members admitted there was little support for the original stance during a consultation period. The decision by World Athletics followed that of swimming's world governing body FINA, who previously announced a ban on transgender athletes from competing in elite women's races. Last year, World Aquatics said they would set up an open category that will include transgender competitors. That also proved controversial. Women's rights campaigners welcomed it, but transgender rights activists branded it discriminatory. Why? How is that discriminatory? We have men's categories, we have women's categories, and we have trans categories. Seems pretty simple to me. And that's all for the sake of fairness in competition. People don't want to see one person just destroy the rest of the field constantly. If we wanted to watch stuff like that as sports fans, we would let amateurs just get destroyed on the football field, in the octagon, everything, just because we like to see one team crush the other one, right? We would let 250-pound kids in high school wrestle against a 103-pound kid just because we want to see, utter domination. No, that's not what we want to see, okay? We want to see two equally talented teams go back and forth, at least two teams or two people, individuals within the same realm. The NFL has a salary cap. Even though one team will suck one year and the other team will be good, they're all operating under a salary cap, so it's fair and equal competition, right? It's what the fans want to see, and it's what the competitors want to go against. If you are a prime 145-pound athlete, you want to wrestle against another 145-pound athlete. You want to box against another 145-pound athlete. You don't want to go up against the smaller guy because you'll crush him. You don't want to go up against the bigger guy because he'll crush you. So, for the sake of fun, fair competition, and enjoyable entertainment, we want to see fair competition. We don't want to make special rules that allow a person that was born biologically male to compete against a bunch of women, break all of their records, and completely destroy the fact that we have created women's sports and divisions to create this equal competition. The organization's president, Hussein Al-Masalam, said, "But I'm delighted to tell you today that we are now making plans for the first trial of an open category, and we hope to be able to confirm all the details soon. Our sport must be open to everybody," he said. Okay, so then create transgender categories for these swimmers. That way you can protect the sanctity of women's records and women's competition. It's what a lot of people fought for over the last 30, 40 years, and it's what we want to see. So if you want to make a different category for transgenders to compete against transgenders, then fine. Nobody's against that. Although it would be my guess that that would be completely full of biological men who would transition to women, given that they're going to destroy any biological women transitioning to a man based on their physical makeup. Okay? Simple as that. And you never know. It might be super popular, but it might not. So go through all that effort at your own risk and see how many people tune in to the transgender Olympics, right? The transgender categories. Thomas became a leading symbol of transgender athletes, stirring both opposition and support when she joined the University of Pennsylvania's women's swim team after competing 3 years on the men's squad at the Ivy League school. Do you want to see Lia Thomas compete against the women in the Olympics this summer? Or do you think Lia should be competing with the other biologically born men in the women's categories if Lia can actually qualify? Personally, I don't think Lia would be able to qualify in the men's category, and I don't want to see Lia competing against women in the 2024 Olympics. As a huge fan of Olympics that tries to watch every category that they can, I will tune that one out. I won't be watching that one if that's what happens. So if you agree with me on that, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.